All right, in this video, we're going to be talking about box and whisker plots. All right, now when dealing with box and whisker plots, we're also going to bring in mean, median, range, lower quartile, upper quartile, and interquartile range. So all these things are going to be talked about while we're doing box and whisker plots. Now, you might be asking, what is a box and whisker plot? What does it look like? Well, here we go. All right, so here is a box and whisker plot. Okay. Now, there's a story that goes along with it, so let's read it. So, Carl sells medical equipment to hospitals in the southeast region of the U.S. The box and whisker plot displays Carl's sales for the previous months. All right, so this is kind of like how a box and whisker plot is read. All right, so what we have here are basically the endpoints. All right, so these are the endpoints. So this would be considered how much he has actually sold in his career. So from this point here to this point here. So I'm just going to guesstimate. Let's just say this is 5 units right here, and this right here, we'll just call this 62. So you would say in the context of this question, Carl, in his career, he has sold anywhere from 5 to 62 units a month. So that's his range. Okay. Now, notice where the box and whisker plot tends to get fat in all of this area. This right here would be considered kind of like this is his average. This would be kind of like what you would expect. So, and we're going to call this 15 on the number line, and this will be, I don't know, we'll just call this 46. So you would say anywhere between 15 to 46, using a baseball term, this would be considered his like sweet spot. So that would be kind of like his expectation. So where most of his sales have been is anywhere in the 15 to 46 range. Okay, so that would be the 15 to 46 range. And this right here would be considered the median. All right, so this would be kind of like the middle of his sales. So it will be about 31. All right. So by looking at this, you would say, okay, based off his sales, based off the box and whisker plot, you would say, okay, he's projected to sell anywhere from 15 to 46. That's kind of like what we'd expect from him. So 15 to 46, but a lot of his data would be around 31. So that's kind of like an average, but it's more the middle number of the median. Okay. All right, so let's answer a couple throwaways here, throwaway questions. If you were Carl's boss and you were reviewing last month's sales report, how many units would you expect Carl to sell next month? Well, again, going back to where the box and whisker plot is kind of the thickest or the fattest, so to speak, that's kind of like his sweet spot. So I would say, now, of course, answers would vary in this, but you would probably say 15 to 46 units. All right. Now, the next question is it likely Carl will sell 60 units? Now, first off, well, actually, has Carl ever sold 60 units? Well, again, looking at all of this information, he has actually sold a max of what I'm calling 62. So he has actually sold above 60 units. But the question is it likely? All right. So again, answers may vary. And so the question would be like, yes, he has sold over 60 units. All right. Yes, he sold, or maybe I should make this. Yes, he has sold over 60 units, but it's unlikely he will do it again. All right. Now, granted, he has done it. He can do it. He has done it, but is the odds for him? Not really. All right. And then lastly, is it likely that Carl will sell 70 units? All right, so going back up here, 70 units. Now, at this point, this should be kind of like a gimme. 70 units is right here. Notice that the box and whisker plot does not go way out to here, so you would say, no, he's never sold that before. So is it? So you say, no, he has never sold 70 units. Very unlikely he'll do. Very unlikely. All right. So, and now again, is it possible versus is it probable? Probable. Hold on. Is it probable? That's what I meant to say. I have a mask on, so it's kind of hard. So, yes, it's anything's possible, but is it realistic? Not really. All right. Okay. So, let's go ahead and start answering some questions. All right, so below are the members of a basketball team and their points per game. Use the information. All right, so what we need to do first is make sure everything is in order. So what I mean by that is all the data, like 24, 21, 11. Okay, so all of this is put in order. All right, now what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to write all the information away from the chart just for organization. All right. All right, so there's all the information, just so we can mess with it. All right, so what is the smallest value in the data set? It's called the minimum, and that's easy. The smallest number, 2. All right, so those are dead giveaways. What is the largest value? 24. All right, so what is the middle value? All right, so this is where things get not difficult, but a little more than just looking. All right, so we got to find the middle number. So we have a whole bunch of information, 24 from 2. All right, we got to find the middle number. All right, so let's see the middle number, the thing that cuts it in half. Let's see, let's do that. I believe it's right here. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 8, 9. Nope. All right, so well, apparently that won't work. All right, so it's not going to be in between 8 and 6. It's going to be right there. That's our middle number. And so our median would be 6 because that's our middle number. All right. So that would be 6. All right. So the median of the larger half is called the upper quartile. All right. So the upper quartile. All right. So here's the way I kind of look at it. And that is once you've found the median, we're not going to pay attention to anything to the right of the median. All right. So all this is gone. So what I need to do is I need to find the middle number for these 4 right here. All right, so splitting it right in half. Now, if you ever have a situation where it's between 2 data points, you would take these 2 data points and you would average them. All right, so you would average them. So you would say the middle number, the upper quartile, would be 16. All right, so the upper quartile would be 16. And then lastly, the lower quartile is the same exact thing, it's up on the lower half. So again, I'm only dealing with the lower half here, so that means all these numbers over here I don't need. All right, so got to find the middle number. Of course, when you're only given 4 numbers, it's kind of easy to find it. It's going to be between 5 and 3, which would be 4. All right, so the median would be considered, or the lower quartile would be 4. All right, now these are the 5 numbers that we're going to use for our box and whisker plot. All right, so what you're going to do is you're going to make a little mark for all these numbers. So 2, 6, 4. All right, so here we go. We're going to draw this thing. All right, so I'm going to make a couple of vertical lines here. At the 2, we'll just say the 2's right here. Then we have the 4. Will be about, we'll just say it's right there. Let's see, 6 is about right there. And then what? 16 and 24. So 16 will be about right there, and then 24 would be right there. All right. So you have 5 marks. The middle 3 you box in like so, and then you whisker out to the final 2. So there you go. There's your box and whisker plot, like so. All right. Pretty simple. So again, you would answer some throwaway questions if you needed to, but that's all we're doing is just creating a box and whisker. All right, let's try another one. Okay, so here we have during the summer, Farmer Fred recorded number of eggs. Okay, you can read it. All right, so first thing I need to do is put all the numbers in order. All right, I always like starting with smallest and working up. So 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 28, and 30. I always like going from smallest to largest. Just spreading them out a little bit. Just make sure we have enough room to work. All right, good. We do. All right. So let's answer the questions. All right, first off, we got to find the mean. All right, so the mean is the average. So I'm going to add all this up. So I'm going to add all the numbers up, and then I'm going to divide by, let's see, 11. So I'm going to divide by 11. So when I do that, the answer ends up being 21.6. Now the minimal number, oh, I'm sorry, the minimum, that's the smallest number just by looking at 16. The maximum just by looking, largest number is 30. The median is the middle number. All right, so now we're going to have to do a little bit of work here. So we got to find what is the middle number. Let's see. Well, I'm going to do this a little differently. I'm going to draw a little vertical line here. We're going to see where the middle number is. All right, so where is it? Where is it? It's going to be between 20 and 21. And you can always count. Let's see, 21, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 5, 6. Oh, my bad. That's the middle number. 21. There it is. Right on the 21. So the median would be 21. All right. The upper quartile. Now remember, the upper quartile is basically the middle number of the data set. So again, when you're dealing with the upper quartile, you pay no attention to the lower quartile. So pay no attention to that. So you're only dealing with these numbers here. So the middle number looks like it falls right on 24. So upper quartile would be 24. The lower quartile, same exact thing. We're paying attention to only the lower half, and we're got to find that middle number. And again, we're only dealing with 5 numbers, so it's going to be pretty simple. Right on that 18. There we go. 18. All right. Now let's talk about the range and the interquartile range. Okay. Now the range is the difference between, so it's basically, let me write it down here. The range is the maximum number minus the minimum number. All right. But the interquartile range is the upper quartile minus the lower quartile. All right. So it's just doing a couple subtractions here. So the minimum and maximum, I mean, you could see it right here. The minimum, I'm just going to draw arrows just because it's easier. So 16 and 30, when I subtract the two, ends up being 14. The interquartile range, again, is the upper quartile, and the lower quartile, just finding the difference here, would be 6. All right. So creating a box and whisker plot. Now there's a lot of information here, but you're only using the 5-number summary. So the numbers that you're going to be using that to create the box and whisker plot is going to be, you have to use the minimum, you got to use the maximum, you got to use the upper or lower upper, and then the median. All right. Those are the 5 numbers you're going to have to graph. So we're going to go ahead and graph here. So let's see, 16 would be, we'll just guesstimate and say 16 is right about here. 30 is my max right here. Again, just a whole bunch of vertical lines here. 18, lower quartile right there. Upper quartile would be about right there. And then what was that? The median was 21. All right, so box in your middle 3. So boxing in my middle 3 and whisker out to the final 2. Box and whisker plot. All right. All right. Now, last thing I want to show you is that sometimes your information can be given many different ways. This, we're dealing with a line plot. So when you're going to create, all the information from a line plot, all you got to do is just write off to the side. Okay. So where you have an X, that represents 1, 3, you have 2 X's on the 4, so 1, 2, 4, 4, 5, 6. Notice that everywhere there's an X, I'm just putting a number. 8, 9. Notice that there's no X's on the 10, 11, or on the 10, 11, so the next one will be 12. So you do the same exact thing based off of that number line. The next one is the frequency. Again, same exact thing. The frequency just tells you, like, frequency of 1, 4. That just means there's going to be 1, 4. All right, so that's all that means. So there's going to be 1, 4, 3, 5s. So when you're creating a number line to work with your, to answer all these questions, you do like, okay, there's 1, 4, 3, 5s, 1, 6. Let's see. Oh, 3 7s, 2 8s, 1 9, and then a 12. And then there you go. There's your number line that you'd work on. and then that is already given to you. That's easy. And then the last one I'm going to show you. Okay, so what we have is a histogram. So the histogram, it tells you, okay, so how many fives are we going to have? Let's see, reading the bars. We're going to have 4 fives, we're going to have 4 tens, and then we're going to have 2 20s. So if I was to create a little number line or a list here, so 1, 2, 3, 4, well, and then no 15s, and then 2 20s. There you go. And then again, there's your list that you would answer all the questions for mean, median, and mode, and all, or not mode, but mean, median, all that good stuff. All right, so that's it. Pretty straightforward. Again, thank you for watching. Let me know if you have any questions. Thanks again.